Hi, this is Mike Scramstead of Spear Education, and I really want to quickly show you one application of the new 3DNA version of Smilecloud that's coming up, how you can use this in conjunction with Exocad to do some pretty cool things. So this is just a patient of mine, and we're just going to use this as an example of what I could do with the integration and ability to stack data on top of each other. And what I mean by stack, I'll explain in just a second. So let's just say, for instance, that this is her upper arch, and let's say we need to extract tooth number 7, and we want to put some sort of Maryland bridge in there as either as a final or as a healing as a healing device before an implant. So what we can do here is obviously we want to be able to support the tissue with these Maryland bridges. We want them to look aesthetic. And I also want to do them sometimes prior to extraction, meaning I want to be able to virtually extract that tooth, make the bridge so I can have it ready to go at the time that I extract that tooth. So let me go ahead and show you one way in which I'm doing this now that's actually pretty cool with some of these new functions. So I'm going to go into projects here, and we're just going to start a new project, and I'm going to start a blueprint. So this is a new feature in the new 3DNA version. Now with the blueprint, this is what I mean by stacking data. We can just automatically add a portrait, we can add an upper, a lower, CBCT, all these different things. So let's just go ahead and add a portrait. Okay, so we're going to add that first. Now this picture is not going to really be necessary for what we're actually going to be doing, but we're going to go ahead and add upper next. So we're going to go ahead and add the upper jaw. It's going to automatically align that upper jaw into the portrait so we don't have to do anything. We'll go ahead and click done. Next we're going to go ahead and add the lower jaw. We'll click on that lower. That's also going to automatically align. So the great thing about Smilecloud is algorithms are powerful. We don't have to do any manual alignment of anything. And the next thing I'm going to do is add a CBCT. So the way that you add a CBCT is you can see I have a DICOM file over here. It's going to download this CT into Smilecloud, and we just need to kind of get it roughly as clear as we can. Obviously, if we go all the way over here, it's too much. Here, I think that's about right. So once I hit continue, it's going to ask me, do I want to automatically detect, separate, and segment everything else out? I do, so we're going to add that and segment it. Okay, so now this is going to take a little bit of time, just a minute or two, just to go ahead and align everything automatically. You can see it kind of working in the background, and I'll show you when it's done what this looks like. Okay, so this is now done, aligning, segmenting, everything's ready to go. All of our data is stacked on each other. And we can go ahead and we can check the structure. And with the structure, you can see it's automatically going to detect which teeth are there. Obviously, tooth number 25 is missing, and so it's segmented that out. It can recognize that there's a missing bicuspid on that patient's left side. So the next thing we'll do is the design. Now, I'm not going to go through, I kind of did this design ahead of time. So this is where we can design in 3D. Everything is movable. You can click a tooth and you can kind of move it around however you want. You can position, rotate it. Basically the same tools with Exocad with the control and shift function. You can choose different databases and match them and pair them. But that's for a different video. We're not really going through this. So what I want to show you is how, I mentioned earlier, I want to make a pre-op Maryland bridge. So over here on the export button, we'll go ahead and click that export button. And now we can see, we can basically export any combinations of things that we want. So I'm going to first start with the upper. Okay, what do I want to export on the upper? Well, I don't really want to export any of the designs, so we're just going to click off the design. I don't really need to export the gingiva, and you'll understand why this is in a second. And I want to virtually extract tooth number 7, which is tooth number 1, 2. So you can just unselect this, and it automatically is going to extract that tooth out of there. And it's actually going to leave the extraction socket because remember, we have the bone from the CBCT. Okay, now the reason I'm not extracting the gingiva is because when I make that ovate pontic, I want to be able to see how close it is to the bone. Okay, so I can really use this as a planning device to see how close that is from the bone. So we'll go ahead and download that as an STL, just one combined file. The next thing we're going to do is I want to export a pre-op. So I'm going to turn this back on. I don't need the bone for this, but I do want the tissue. So I'm going to extract the bone with, extract the tissue and the teeth with the roots intact. This will be an STL, and we'll go ahead and export that. Now lastly, it's going to be nice to have an opposing, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off the upper, and we're going to just extract the lower. And I don't really need the bone here, so we'll go ahead and turn off the bone. Actually, I'll keep the bone. I'll just extract it all together like this. Okay, so I've got the teeth, the tissue, the bone. We'll extract this as an STL. So you can customize it however you want, and what we're going to do with these files next is we're going to bring them into Exocad, and I'll show you in a second what that looks like. Okay, so here we are in Exocad. We're going to call tooth number 6 veneer for a Maryland bridge. We'll say we're going to do it out of zirconia and go ahead and click OK. And then tooth number 7 is going to be the pontic. We'll choose anatomic pontic. We do want to use the pre-op model. We do want to copy our mirror, and we'll click OK. So we'll go ahead and open this up in our design software. And first it wants us to import the upper arch, so we're going to do the upper arch here, then the pre-op, and then the lower arch. Okay, so here's all the STLs that we had. We're going to go ahead and kind of move along in the wizard. Here's kind of what it looks like here. We have the lower jaw, or the antagonist in this case, is the lower scan with the tissue and teeth and the bone. So you can kind of see a little bit of everything here. If I wanted to show you kind of transparent, you can kind of see the segmented teeth. Now the upper jaw, we have, if I turn off the pre-op scan, you can see I just have the upper jaw, which is the segmented teeth in the bone. I have my virtual extraction socket there, which is nice. And then my pre-op contains the pre-op and the tissue. Okay, so I have everything that I need here. We'll go ahead and move forward. Okay, so it wants me to draw a margin on the canine, so I'm just going to make something pretty simple here for no prep Maryland bridge, something like this. That's probably fine. We'll go ahead and hit next. It's going to ask me to go ahead and set the insertion axis, so I'm going to correct that just a little bit. Something about like that. And the next thing it's going to have me do is we're going to go ahead and copy and mirror the tooth that we want for the lateral incisor. So the pre-op came up here, so we'll go ahead and copy that. So the great thing about doing this method here is it is obviously gave me a direct copy of that lateral incisor, but if I turn off my pre-op, you can kind of see it not only did that, but it copied all the root, the whole segmented tooth, so it copied everything. Now the reason this is great is because when I want to form an ovate pontic, I can actually use that to the actually entire root, and because I don't have the tissue, I can form it, so it's a couple millimeters away from the bone, still forming that nice ovate pontic. Okay, so what we're going to do here next is we'll move forward. Okay, so now I got everything I need here. I have my exact copy, I have my wing already formed, and now I just need to form the root in a way to stay above that bone. So I'll go ahead and turn off the pre-op tissue. Let's go ahead and make this jaw a little bit transparent. I'm going to use the smooth and the flatten and just go ahead and flatten this up. And you can see I'm maintaining the root shape. And for an ovate pontic, I typically want to get this a couple millimeters maybe above the level of the bone. All right, something like that. All right, something like that. So now I can see I clear the bone in every way here. I might want to do it just a little bit more. So the nice thing about this is this is data that you don't generally have. Now, if I turn on the tissue, you can see it's still supporting the tissue in the exact same place, but I have that nice ovate pontic in the shape of the root that I can go ahead and move forward and just simply export that STL. Now, if you wanted to build it up a little bit here, we could certainly add a little material, up in this area. So there's lots of things that you could do here if you wanted to. And here would be my final design. You can kind of see we're ready to go here. We can go ahead and get the connector. We'll go ahead and cut all the intersections. We don't want to adapt. And there you go. You can export that as an STL. You could 3D print it. You could go ahead and mill it if you wanted to. But that's a good way to use Smilecloud and bring those STLs of the segmented areas back into Exocad to design this pre-op, and you would get the same form. So again, you can see that that pontic is the exact shape of the pre-op tooth that I segmented out, and you can kind of see how it stays above the level of the bone. So the way that I look at Smilecloud is more information to do a better job designing.